Jacob, some people would say, well, what does the U.S. have anything to do with this? This is a European problem. This is a Russia-Ukraine border war. This is a European problem. What in the world are we sending cluster bombs now? Are we literally in a war with Russia? Let's cut through all the verbiage and just deal with the fact that maybe the U.S. wants a war with Russia because it has nothing to do with that war. This is what some critics would say. Did they have a point?
Okay, there's two factors that come into play at least. One is the corruption of the Biden family, not just the Biden administration, but the Biden family and their involvement with the Ukrainian government and economy. That's the first. Okay, so you have a vested interest of a corrupt family.
Yes.
Much the same as the Saudi Arabians had George Bush on a leash.
Yeah.
You know, had the Bush administration and Cheney in their back pocket. Same kind of thing. Okay, same kind of thing. Same general kind of thing. You know, after September 11th, the Bush gladly responded to September 11th by licking the camel muck off the sandals of the Saudi Arabians. I mean, this kneeling down and licking their sandals. This is the Bush family. What do you expect from them? That's the Bush administration. Well, it's the same thing with the Biden administration. These people are all political prostitutes. They will put their personal corrupt interests before the interests of the country. That was true of the Republican Party establishment, and it's true of the Democrat Party establishment. Right now, it is Biden. And this was going on under Obama. Let's be clear and not leave that out. That's the first factor. The second is, when nations turn away from God, they become prisoners of history. Europe has a history of this. You had a local war in the Balkans. The Balkans is where the Roman Empire split between the Greek-speaking East and the Latin-speaking West. It is also where the Islamic Saracens tried to invade Europe, and they reached all the way to Vienna, okay, the 16th century. That was the conflicting place. The Balkans was always the powder keg of Europe, where you had a conflict between East, West, and the Islamic world, and the, for want of a better term, Christianized world. Okay, that was always there. So Sarajevo, Bosnia, Archduke Ferdinand is assassinated by an obscure figure, Lee Harvey Oswald type obscure figure, Giovello Princip. This local war winds up getting France and Russia dragged into it. Then when France is dragged, and this is, and other factors were going on, then Britain gets dragged into it. And then once Britain gets dragged into it, because of the amount of loans J.P. Morgan and other American bankers made to the British, America gets dragged into it. They want to get paid back. And America made a lot of money supplying the British during the war before the American entry into it. Okay, so a local war in Europe, these obscure countries, drags in bigger countries. First, France and Russia, and then Britain and America. Unbelievable. How did this little thing become that? Europe has a history of that. Now, the whole background of World War I, just look at it. It had to do with the rise of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. It had to do with the hostility that remained from the Franco-Prussian War over Alsace-Lorraine between Germany and France at the end of the 19th century.
Yeah, that's right.
It had to do with the dynasty rivalries between the Habsburgs of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Hohenzollerns. All this European stuff. What does that to do with somebody in Chicago or San Francisco? Well, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Or Atlantic
the farmer,
City, New Jersey,
the
or
farmer
Miami.
in Kansas. Yeah.
Nothing. But look what happened.
Yep.
And as a result of World War I, you had the Versailles Treaty. Had there been no Versailles Treaty, there would be no Hitler. He never would have got the political support. So World War I makes it possible to have a World War II. World War II. We are prisoners of history.
That's right.
Unless people turn to God. Unless people have a faith in God and a sense of his moral standards, they are doomed. They will do what they always did. Ours is not a God of confusion, but the God of this world is a God of confusion.
That's right. Satan.
Levavel, to confuse. It's the same root almost in Hebrew, almost this, that's not exactly the same, but Babel, to confusion.
Babel, yeah.
Now this linguists dispute it, but Levavel in Hebrew is to confuse.